multiple tight end stuff last week.
Uh-huh.
What did you like about that matchup?
I thought our gut feeling going into the plan was that we were going to be able to run the ball. They had some injuries, and I think sometimes when you use some of the bigger sets, it simplifies the defense. And I thought it played to our advantage. And then I think those guys are starting to play really well together. You know, they're growing as a group. They're smart players, whether it's Janovich being back or having back in the equation now. I think it's a deep position and excited about where it's going to head.
Coach, what do you make of the production level and the contribution thus far on the offense from Deshaun Hamilton in his sophomore season?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Deshaun, you know, I don't think the numbers reflect what he's done for the offense. I mean, we're asking him to do a lot of the dirty work sometimes, and that goes unnoticed. And when you're multiple formations and you're using trying to get Cortland and Emmanuel and all these different type players the ball with the backs and all that, sometimes that can get lost. But there are weeks when he's going to have to be the difference. It could be this week, and it's the one or two plays that can change the game on third down or in the red zone where he's going to have to show up this year for us to be successful.
Has Philip surprised you at all in his ability to run between tackles, and what is your impression of him?
Yeah, he hasn't surprised me because it was on his film last year. He is just he's a smaller in stature, but he's a physical back, and he has great feel inside, and he's willing to stick his foot in the ground and get up the field, and that just makes him good in between the tackles. So he's just dynamic with his speed, but he has the ability to do it in there, and he's been very, very good doing it so far in his pro career.
What have you seen from Cortland from when you got here and to where he is now?
He's just gaining confidence, and he was just a raw player with a ton of talent, but he's got the instincts and the work ethic, the mindset to be great, and I think that with that combined with his traits are going to make him a really good receiver for a long time in this league.
What do you attribute the offense slowing down after the fast starts in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make too much of it, but it's something that has to be addressed. The Jacksonville, each situation's a little bit different. The first play, the second half was like a 25-yard run against the Chargers, and we were down in the high red. And then I think we had a penalty that set us back behind the chains, and then, the rest is what it is. And then, there was a couple unfortunate 3-and-outs the week before because of mental assignments, I thought, on third down. That's part of the game. Sometimes it can happen at any time, but it's something that we've talked about. It's something that we want to get better at, and we want to have a fast start coming out of the locker room so we can put the pressure on our opponents from here on out.
What's the key to putting together a good script to start the game?
Yeah, it's something that evolves over the course of a week. That's a great question. It's just something that, it's you've been around some guys, and then I have my own way of doing it. But as you put a plan together, you kind of have a vision for how it will play out and then how you script it in practice. You hope to see during the game, and you kind of piece it together over a 4 or 5 day process so that when you get to Friday, it's all come together, and you pretty much have a real solid foundation for the stuff you want to do to kind of put the defense on their heels or get after them on a fast start, And sometimes that's using explosive plays, will work early, or saving them. And like the first play against the Chargers, just kind of felt that play would be successful and wanted to get after them on the first play.
Putting together that game script, how much of it determines based on the strengths that you've seen from your particular offense over the course of the season, and in combination with the opponent that you're playing?
I think it's all those things. I mean, I think it's weather, it's the stadium you're in, it's crowd noise, it's what players you want to get going so you feel their energy. I think it's what gets your quarterback comfortable. It's do you feel like you can knock them off the ball? It's all those things. Sometimes you want to set the tone with a run and say, hey, we're in for a fight, defense, here you go. And sometimes you want to take advantage of their aggressiveness. So it's a mix. There's no real single thing. So, and to answer your question, you were going to ask how many. I would say it varies week to week. Ballpark around 15, but it varies. It could be 12 to 20. I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you do it again at halftime?
I do. We do. A small one, but yes, we do. We come together, yeah.
Is it rare that it works as well as it has the last couple of weeks based on your experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it is you do when the players know what's coming. There are a group of plays that they get an extra group of reps in practice walkthroughs to prepare their minds, and they can visualize it the night before. I think that only helps your odds of being successful in a given play. It just gives everyone just a heads up, and from quarterback to center on his calls to everybody, and that obviously can lead to more production.
How do you feel about how Drew approached this time where he wasn't able to be on the practice field with you guys?
I think he's done a great job. I mean, he's he has a very long way to go when he got here, just from his foundation. I've said this before. I just feel in this league, especially if you're a spread quarterback, the ability to not play early on is everything, and to gain confidence and learn from others. And I think he's done everything he can to do that.
What is the identity of this offense? And I ask because we see what Shanahan's doing in San Francisco. They're averaging 38 carries a game.
Mm-hmm.
Is this at its base a running offense that plays off that?
I think in the end you play to your strengths, and sometimes it's the opponents on your schedule that dictate how it looks early on. But in the end, we both want to be balanced. They've been fortunate that they've played from the lead. Their defense is playing great. Their offense is playing great. They're kind of feeding off it. It's taken them a long time to get there, and I think they're feeding off of that. And because of that, he's able to sit on it late in games and all that, because they've had leads. We're heading that way. Defense is playing great, and as an offense, we're going to do our part, and we're going to get better and better.
The script works in multiple weeks in a row. Why can't you do it longer for an individual game?
It's just, you'd love to be able to script the whole game out, but a lot of that is D coordinators adjust. I think this was a good example of it. I think pretty early on, and I take it, Jacksonville did the same thing, knowing the Seattle style of defenses. I told the offense I take it as a compliment for us that when you can get them out of the things that they do every down because they know they're good at it and they don't want to do it anymore, that's usually a good sign that you're onto them. And I felt like Gus did a good job of adapting and putting us on his heels, and that's probably why it affected us a little in the second half. He had a great third down plan that he really hadn't shown this year on film. It was something from the past, and it led to some struggles on third down. It was a great plan. It probably led to Emmanuel not getting some touches, and that's just the league. You have to adapt.
Rich, what are you seeing from the Titans defensively?
I think it's one of the best defenses in the NFL, and it's the best secondary we've seen all year. And they're very, very talented, and they play well together. They're in their second year together as a system. From last year to this year, they've grown together. You can see it on film. They play confident, and they're a very, very tough group and a very, very difficult challenge.
Given Cortland's growth and big play potential going forward here the rest of the season, is there more emphasis on getting him more vertical looks?
We're always trying to go up, and I think he did that. We tried a bunch in the Packer game and all that stuff, and we're lucky to get a couple of them. One we got sacked and fumbled on. It's always finding that fine line. In the end, if they that's where the big sets can help and all that. You can create one-on-ones and hopefully have opportunities to do that stuff. But if they continue to respect them like they do, and they play with a high safety or they play over the top, that's the ultimate sign of respect in this league when you get real good. Makes it difficult to do that, but it opens up other people and other things.
Time for a couple more.
Did Emmanuel say anything to you this week, or does he say anything to you after games when he's maybe not talking?
He doesn't say anything necessarily, but I feel it from him because I respect him so much, and I feel, let me put it this way, no one feels worse when he doesn't have the success. He feels the worst. I would rival that I'm up there with anyone else feeling bad for the guy. Like, I can't describe the things that he has done as a receiver who's been in the league this long for the benefit of this team. Stuff that just you wouldn't see on film that you wouldn't get out of a lot of receivers in his position. And he has laid it on the line. And I'm proud of him. I love him to death. I would go to war with that guy any day of the week, and I want to get him the rock. It just sometimes the flow of the game, it doesn't always work out. But that has not affected him in any other way, and he showed up all over the film in other ways. He drew a critical penalty in the game that led to a score. The sack fumble in the red zone probably would have been a touchdown to him. That's where Joe was going. He's in the end, he's the guy that we feed off his energy.
For young tight ends like Noah, is this offense difficult to grasp because of what they're asked to do, and how do you think he specifically has handled it?
I think outside of the quarterback, I think it's the most difficult position, and it's hard. People don't always feel it and can't see it maybe from the outside, but you're asked to block in the run game. You're involved in pass protection, and you have to be a route runner. So you're asked to learn all the phases of the game. Plus, you have to play sometimes an inline player or move around. So that's multiple positions, and learn a lot of different formations. So that's an added thing that no other position has to deal with. And then when you ask for the proper technique and you ask a guy to do it fast and you're changing up the snap count and you're calling 2 plays in the huddle, like, it's a lot. And it's just, it can be overwhelming. And then guys, it slows down. And at some point, it just clicks and they just go play fast. And I see it every day with Noah, the way he's practicing and getting better. And I have no doubt that in the future, it'll get easier and easier and he'll play better and better.
Good. Let's go.
Yeah.